Hello guys, it's Freeman here. So, I got to say, last video got very popular and people liked it a lot, so I thought to myself, why not make this into a series? Because I've got quite a fair few stories that I'm willing to tell, and I believe that there's a fair market out there that probably wants to hear them, so why not? So I'm going to make it like this. If you guys want to hear more stories, which I believe you do considering the amount of views and likes the last video got, I'm going to do as following. 1 video a week, if I choose that week to make a commentary video, and 2 videos in 1 week, if I choose to make storytime videos. So you get a little bit of variation, and you still get a fair amount of content for you to watch. And it, you know, why not? So, here we go. Today I'm telling the tale of when I met Pyrocynical. So, back in the day, and this was about a year ago, so not that long ago, I was in a Discord conversation with a Blaze, as I told you about in my previous video, and we were sitting and I was drinking a little bit and talking with him, and it was fun, you know, all good. And then I get a ping, and it's a typical all ping, which means that everyone is freaking out and becoming fucking angry. So I decided that I would do this, I would check out what was up, and I noticed that it actually came from the Pyrocynical Discord, and not from his tab where he reveals new videos. It came from general chat. I didn't manage to find the ping, however, and the reason why was because it was fucking drowned in spamming kids. Usually that chat was pretty tame, it wasn't a lot going on there unless a bad meme was being repeated, but now everyone was spamming constantly so you couldn't see what they were saying. And I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But as soon as I watched the voice chat, I noticed that they were starting to fill up. And especially the ones that were unlimited. And holy shit, it was filling up fairly quickly. Over the course of a few seconds, it was up in 15 people. I decided to see what was up, so I joined that chat to ask like, hey, what's going on? And I did ask what's going on, but my question was drowned out in the literal wave of kids and other people that were screaming at the top of their lungs because they were wondering where Pyro was. Apparently, the motherfucker was gonna join voice chat, which was something that I wasn't really prepared for, and especially not considering the sheer fact that just a few seconds after that, he joined. And holy shit, if I thought they were loud when I came in, it got worse now, and more people joined by the second. And as they joined, the sound levels just went through the fucking roof. They were playing terrible memes like Thomas the Tank Engine on fucking repeat, turned up to 11. It was terrible. And the very few occasions when Pyro had an opportunity to talk, he only said like 1 word before everyone started to scream again, and it was pretty fucking bad. It was kind of like that Japanese SpongeBob commercial from back in the day. Oh my. So what happened then was that we got the opportunity to just sit there for a time and just let our ears bleed freely, because why the fuck wouldn't you want that to happen? But I was a determined little bastard. I turned down the volume just a little bit because of good damn reasons, and then I started to ask Pyro like, excuse me Pyro, can I talk to you for a second? And, well, he didn't hear me, obviously. But other kids did, and they were starting to be quiet, like wondering, who is that sounds like that? And this was a year ago, so I sound pretty much similar to then, like now. And I continued to just like, hello Pyro, can you hear me? I want to talk to you for a second. And people were starting to become quiet, not because of the sheer fact that they were respecting me, it was out of curiosity, just to see where the sound came from. And eventually, over the course of like 20 seconds, everyone went quiet. And they were quiet just long enough for me to say, excuse me Pyro, but I would like to talk with you if it's absolutely possible. And he actually managed to reply as well, where he said, which one of you sounds like Colossus Crazy's dad? And as soon as he said that, everyone was screaming again, and it was chaos and panic. It was pretty god-awful, actually. Oh my. The day. My ears will never repair from that. So what happened then was that he pretty much jumped out of the chat and disappeared, and as soon as he did, people started to disperse as well. They jumped into the other chats and started to talk to each other or whatnot, and it was pretty fucking strange as well. And I thought that I finally would have my opportunity, you know, because here's the thing. At that point in time, I've wanted to talk to Pyrocynical. And let me just go down that route real quick and tell you something very special. I have a lot of respect for Pyrocynical, and I think he was, back then, a fucking fantastic YouTuber. I still do think he is a fantastic YouTuber. And I wanted to get into a collaboration with him or try to talk with him if at absolute possible. And I had tried that over the course of weeks, if not months. And I had managed to talk to friends of his, like for example Hugin. I was already having a special rank at her server at the time, and that rank was Morgan Freeman, for obvious reasons. I guess you can imagine. So that was not only that, it was also that I got to talk with another guy by the name of Lord Bong. And Lord Bong I managed to even collaborate with. You can look at the link in the description below and you'll see a video that I voice acted in for Lord Bong, so you can see what's going on there as well. And yeah, everything considered, I was moving up the ladder to try and get a hold of Pyrocynical and perhaps grow my channel. And it was a most definitively interesting time, because now I had finally gotten into contact with him, at least in one way or another. You know, I screamed the word out, but he had left. So, yeah, at that point in time I was a little bit beaten down. I thought like, no, okay, seems like he's not gonna stay. So I didn't stay either. I left to one of the limited chats. I think I went to like limited 15, and I sat there for a little while. I sat there for like 2 minutes or something, and as soon as I thought to myself, I think I'm just gonna go back to the blaze, something happened. I heard this sound, and I had been drafted. And I hadn't been drafted just anywhere. I was drafted into Limited 8, and in Limited 8 sat Pyrocynical alongside with his moderators and some other people that he liked. And the first thing I heard was his voice saying, "Was this a guy?" And everyone was like, yeah, it's him, it's the guy. And at that point I was like, what the fuck? And that's when I looked at the chat, and I noticed Pyrocynical had drafted me into his limited call. And my god, that was amazing. Never have I ever had such an opportunity in my life with such a big YouTuber. And it was fucking fantastic, because Pyrocynical is a guy that's very down to earth in my experience. And I think that he's a guy I can respect to a degree. And I think he's cool. And back then I thought he was really cool. And so I decided to just, you know, talk with him for as long as this could last, you know, as long as he could stay, and I could try and keep him entertained alongside with everyone else. And luckily for me, there was some people there that I had talked to previously that had been a little bit closer to Pyro. And the thing is, I don't want to go in there screaming at the top of my lungs as if though I was, you know, your standard 9-year-old. I decided instead to try and keep it cool. And luckily I had friends on my side that could vouch for me to Pyro, saying that I was a good guy. And, you know, he took their word for it. And it's not like I am a bad guy, so everything was good. And we had a great conversation. I got to talk to him about all manners of stuff. He told me about the times he had met certain YouTubers. He told us about the various videos he was working on. And at the time, he was working on the Emoji Movie review, I think it was. And it was around this time when I wanted to try and do something interesting, let's just say. I'll be honest, I was flexing a little bit on Pyro, because at the time I had a YouTube channel as well that was only on 875 subs, something like that, and this channel is deleted so you can't find it anywhere. But on this channel I did almost what I do now, but it was just in lesser quality, because I didn't have the money to buy a good editor program. So I was stuck with Windows Live Movie Maker. It was awful. But I worked with what I had. And in all due honesty, my videos weren't terrible. And Pyro actually liked some of the videos that I had. And one of the video series that I had on the channel was a parody series of a guy by the name of Zefrank1. And Zefrank1 makes a series called True Facts, and tells true facts about the frog, true facts about the marsupials, and all that stuff. So I essentially imitated that guy's voice, and I made a similar format, but I did it for YouTubers instead. So I talked about Pyrocynical, I talked about Onision, I talked about No Fuckers. It was hilarious, I liked it. But yeah, it discontinued after my old channel got deleted. And but during the time, I had a very fun conversation with Pyro, and I got to share not only the creations that I had done, but I also got to share with him something very special to me. Back in these days, I used to do poetry, and as some of you probably know, I still technically do that. I have a few videos up that has poetry in them, which is something of my own writing, but back then I had more of it. And I wasn't trying to be edgy, it was actually a passion of mine, and I got to actually perform, quote-unquote, some of these poems for Pyro. And the way I did that was essentially I put a speaker in the background, pretty good speakers, and I played a fitting song, and to the song I was telling my various poems, and it was actually in the same vein as the Whom poem that you might already have seen on my channel before, and it was in that vein pretty much in terms of types of poems, and it was pretty fun actually. And Pyrocynical thought it was phenomenal. He thought they were really well done. He thought that I was a really good voice actor, and he thought that I had a really good talent. And when he said that, I felt massively praised. And it was a huge confirmation for me, and I felt secure. And it's thanks to that that I've gotten the will to do YouTube, because I believe I can get somewhere with it. Questions just where, you know? And as such, I simply thanked him, and I asked him something, which was gonna change me fundamentally in a sense, and that was a question I had for Pyro. So as he gave me the praise, I asked Pyro, this might be a dumb question or something, but would you like to collab sometime? And before he managed to answer, there were people that said as well, like, yeah, I think you guys should fucking work together. That could be some funny shit, dude. That could be really cool. And one of those people that said that is my friend Rad, whose Twitter will also be in the link in the description below. And he actually thought I should tell this story, as I asked people on Twitter. And yeah, he actually vouched for me, saying that you guys really should collab. And Pyrocynical didn't even consider it. He said outright, sure, no problem. He said that it would be really fun. He would really like to do that. And he said, yeah, I'd totally feature you on my channel. Verbatim what he said. He would totally feature me on his channel, and we would do a collaboration. He thought that would be a lot of fun, and it could be really cool. I had managed to hit my fucking goal. I had talked to one of my greatest superiors, I suppose you can say. A man I've been a fan of for a very long time, ever since the days of his MLG parodies. And as such, this was pretty much the pinnacle of my thoughts and hopes, pretty much. And just to try and seal the deal, to ensure that this can happen, that this is a possibility, I sent him a friend request on Discord And he accepted it, and he said that we'll get back to that, and we will most definitively make something up. It'll be great, my dude. And never have I ever felt so fantastic in my life as in that moment, because I felt like my hope was sealed. I could finally embrace a possibility to become something worthwhile on YouTube, doing something that I like. And I really hoped this was my chance. And I had finally gained that chance. That's what I thought to myself. Unfortunately, that's not what ended up happening. Because, you see, over the course of the evening, we continued to talk and we continued to have a good time, and I said goodbye to them and left, thanked Pyrocynical a lot. He was happy as well. And I went back to Ablaze and told him what happened, and, you know, he was really happy for my sake as well. And I went to bed the happiest man I could ever be. And the very next day, I sent a message to Pyrocynical again to see, you know, if we were gonna talk a little bit, and we can check out, like, okay, what kind of voice lines would you require if we were gonna collab? But he didn't have time to talk at that moment because he was editing a video, and I was like, alright, sure, we'll talk a little later. A few hours later, I sent him another message, didn't reply, and one more during the evening. Didn't get anything back. So, next day I waited to see if I would get a reply. I didn't. So, the next day after that, I sent him another message, like, hello? He didn't reply. And the day after that, I waited, and then the next, I tried again, replied 2 messages that day, waited 2 days, tried again, waited another 2 days, tried again, waited 3 days, tried again, and this only increased in time, essentially. I continued to try and get a hold of him through messages on Discord, and I did this over the course of weeks, and eventually months, and this eventually led to a year, and here we are today. Still haven't gotten in contact with him, and I never have again. I was really sad that it never happened, but on the same time I was a little bit happy as well, because it was around that time, it was around summer last year, I think, when my old channel was deleted, and the reason why was because it was tied to an old school email, and as such, when the email was deleted, everything followed with it, and it was a Google account, so it was all connected, everything would disappear, and there was no way I could save it, so as such, you know, there I was, and I've essentially built myself up from the bottom up, but I'm happy on the same time that it didn't happen because of the sheer fact that it got deleted. I was not entirely prepared for it being deleted. I knew that it might get deleted because of that, but seeing as I couldn't change it, I didn't know how, even though I tried, there was little I could do about it, so I just, to a technical degree anyways, let it happen. And I didn't consider that to be too great a loss, just because of the sheer fact that I would create a new channel, which is this channel, and I can start over again, but this time I would have contact with people that could help me give me a boost, like Ablaze, like Pyrocynical. But Pyro never replied, and it was also around this time, I think anyways, when my old buddy Ablaze pretty much disappeared off YouTube for a while to live his life, which is, you know, understandable, respected the guy, but I am still a little bit, you know, a little bit moved about the fact that Pyro didn't reply, and he hasn't till this day. But I just want to say something very important here, so that people understand this. I do not dislike Pyrocynical, and I do not think that he didn't reply out of malice. I can't see him do that. I think the reason why he didn't reply was because of the sheer fact that he is busy with a lot of stuff. He might have seen the messages pop in but didn't reply because he maybe forgot who I was or something like that. And I can see that happen because he's a huge YouTuber. He probably has a lot of people screaming at him all the time, hey, let's do this, hey, let's do that, whilst on the same time making videos. He's probably in a bit of comfort considering the fact that he chooses when he works and doesn't work, but on the same time, he has a lot of pressure on him. And it is understandable that what we did talk about didn't get off, essentially. So, even though it never happened, I still would have liked it to, and, you know, beggars can't be choosers, but it would have been cool. And, like I say, I don't blame Pyrocynical in the slightest, because I think he's a good guy, and I think that he has gone in a fantastic direction. I'm not surprised that he has ended up where he has ended up now, ever since his transition from MLG parodies to commentaries, and I respect him greatly. And with this, I hoped to raise my channel out of nothing to become something, and try it without his help, you know? And, well, considering the sheer fact that I am where I am now, I believe I have that ability, because here's where he changed me fundamentally. I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but didn't extrapolate upon it, so I think I'm going to do that now. And the way that he changed me fundamentally is that he gave me a sort of strength by showing his appreciation, someone that is a very high-tier, quote-unquote, video editor who does a lot of things for a large audience, and he does it with a tremendous amount of skill that he has acquired over a long career. And as such, he is most definitively in the cream of the crop. And for having someone amongst the cream of the crop to say that what you do to your face, that what you are and what you produce is really good and you have a large talent on you, that was massive for me. That's a massive boost, and it provided me, and it does till this day, provided me with the strength and the desire to do YouTube for, you know, an audience out there, to gain an audience. And today, even though my audience is small, it exists, and they want to watch my videos, and I am very thankful for having you guys here. I always try to better my content to make something cool, to make something interesting for people to watch, and so that I can experiment and see what I can make to further my own goals. But also to try and make something entertaining, because I like to be validated. I like the feeling of having normal people just validate my work, but I also get a large boost from people that are larger than me to do that. So it has been a huge source of inspiration that he has helped me in that fashion, even though he might not realize that it has helped. And that's also been a huge help that I've gotten so many nice comments over the months now that I've done YouTube ever since I came back. And the long-ass hiatus that I did will be explained at a later date when I feel like it. But for the moment, just know that, you know, I'm here, so I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna do YouTube for as long as Article 13 lets me. You. Anyways, I hope you got a little bit of now you got an insight into the history of Afreeman and how I got the opportunity to talk to one of the greatest commentators channels of our time, in my opinion. And yeah, that's the story. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to help an old man out, because I'm fucking 80 years old at this point in time, do be a dear and spread it around, and like and subscribe to the channel. That would make me happy dappy. And Pyrocynical, if you ended up across this recording as well, I have to talk to you again soon. That'd be cool. Alright everyone, have a good time.